Welcome to As the Story Grows. I'm Brian Patton. Today we welcome CC McKenna from Death Dealer Union to the podcast. Death Dealer Union's debut LP, Initiation, came out back in September on Napalm Records. Death Dealer Union features Lena Scissorhands from Infected Rain on vocals. CC talks about his musical background, why now was the time to start a band, the theme behind Initiation, and more. Go give Initiation a spin if you haven't yet. I think it's a killer record. If you dig what we're doing As the Story Grows, consider joining the podcast on Patreon. All Patreon members get early access to every episode for just $1 a month. You can join the mailing list and come hang out on Discord. The easiest way to show your support is to subscribe to the podcast and share an episode with someone who might dig it. Enjoy today's conversation with CC McKenna from Death Dealer Union.
Pretty nice day. I think it's going to be here in LA today, and just been doing a ton of interviews and been getting the record out, and it's been great. Yeah,
busy time. Yeah, record's been out a week. How's the reception been so far? Let's just start there.
I think everybody's really liked the album. I haven't really, of course you get a few comments here and there and stuff, but I'd say 99.99% of everybody, all the fans have been amazing. Everybody's been really, really great, really, really receptive to the record. And the great thing is they were really understanding, what the concept we were trying to, put forth. Which is really heartening, to hear, because sometimes you struggle. It's like, no, it's not that's not our image. That's not what we're trying to get across, and we're not having that problem at all, which is great. It's really great. Awesome. And the feedback's been very, very, very welcoming and encouraging, and really appreciate it. Yeah.
That's awesome. It's awesome. Let's go back in time. Where'd you grow up, man?
I grew up in Santa Barbara, California. I kind of grew up, I grew up in a little bit in the Central Valley too. I mean, I come from like a divorced home, I was in a lot of boarding schools and in a lot of private schools. And, I've been in, my parents were, both doctors. So I kind of grew up in a sort of dysfunctional, high, upper middle class, alcoholic home. And, so, it was, and so my time was split. I mostly grew up in Santa Barbara, where my mom and my brother, my mom took us to Santa Barbara. I was born here in California, up in like Santa Cruz area, and then was raised in Santa Barbara mostly because that's where my mom took us after the divorce. And then, like I said, I bounced around to boarding schools and different, and then I went to college in a couple of different states, and had to kind of find my way in life a little bit, and always kind of stuck with music. Did a lot of a lot of other things in life too, but definitely the music and everything else was always in the foreground there.
Yeah. Yeah. What got you into music?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess just I've been I don't know. I guess the gods and the goddesses got me into music. It was part of what I was born with. So my dad was a pianist. He ended up being a doctor for a living, but but he was a pianist, and I believe he even had a scholarship to Trinity School of Music in London at one point. And he never went through it. He went to medical school, and then he went into he flew in the Navy. So that was, but he kept a piano around the house, and then he was a pianist. He never really liked, the fact that I was a drummer. He didn't really sort of treat it as a real instrument, and he thought, other, you got to understand, that my dad was a different era, and I had to, I kind of had to sort of find my way, but I was, I was playing drums, as I started playing at like age 10, actually getting on a kit and playing, and then took like lessons throughout all my teens and into my early 20s, and I just kind of played in a lot of, started to get good and started to play in a lot of bands, started to understand how to work in a studio, started just different skills that I kind of acquired on the way, and I just kind of kept with it,
Yeah.
And so I was mostly a, drummer and session drummer in Los Angeles for many years. And this is really the first project that I've done. Death Dealer Union is my first project where I'm sort of the captain of the ship. I'm also the last one holding the bag too. So it's a double-edged sword, but but this is that effort. This is what we're.
Yeah. Is that how you made your living for a while? Just session drumming?
For a while, yeah.
For a while, yeah.
I've always been like a business owner too, and I've always done, different types of business and entrepreneurial stuff. Like I currently own other businesses now and stuff. So that's, that's more, in this day and age. I mean, to actually make money at music is all different.
Right.
You can reach levels of success and not make really any money.
Yeah.
So it's the business side of this is a whole different conversation.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, we've kind of passed the phase of like rock and roll stardom, and everybody knows that it's really hard and kind of sucks, but it's still this thing that is so passionate that people still got to do it.
People still got to do it like me for some stupid reason. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's like, there's just so much more material out there. There's just so much more content. There's so many more platforms, streaming versus like, actual album sales and stuff like that. Yeah. But you're right. The days of being like, super rock star, like the days of, Motley Crue and Fleetwood Mac, having millions of dollars and mansions in the Hollywood Hills. Those days are over, it's just not rock stars and fancy cars. The few top are going to still get that, There's a lot of bands that have done really, really well and have made quite a bit of money, and there's still room to make good money here. It just hasn't been the focus for me right now. There's really not a lot of money to be made. It's still very early in this band's project, sort of speak, even though we've been around for about 3 years, that, we are still sort of building and growing our audience. And, but we have some encouraging stuff, we're getting a lot of good radio airplay across the country. And we're just kind of waiting to connect with Sirius XM radio. I think our people are trying to get that done, and but we've been steadily climbing. So we'll just have to see how this all works out, and then we got some live shows that are going to be planned, so yeah, we're doing pretty good.
How did Death Dealer Union get started? Like, what was the catalyst for this band finally? And
well, I think I was just I think COVID came around. I think it was actually before COVID. It was around 2019, and I think I just had an itch to play. Get involved back into music again. And so I basically just went and considered sort of like doing production work and other session work, and just said, no, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually try and do a band this time. And at first I thought I was going to do some vocals, and I started kind of trying out my vocals, and I didn't like where it was going. I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's do, like a real band. So I started auditioning guitar players, auditioned a few guys. None of them were like, there was a lot of guys were coming there very unprepared and whatnot. And so I auditioned Doug, and we kind of hit it off right away. And at first he was very busy and couldn't really commit to anything. So only thing he could really commit to was some studio work here and there and putting together some songs. And so I said, okay, let's do that. Let's just work together as when we can, and let's start putting together some songs. And we did. And then he had a suggestion for a studio, for an engineer. So we went in there and started putting down some tracks, and they were coming out pretty good. And we started needing to basically two things. We needed vocals and we needed production. And we kind of did both at the same time. So what happened was that I was talking to producers, a bunch of different producers actually, and ended up communicating with this guy from Europe, Valentin Valuta, who was, been doing Infected Rain, and he has a studio project that he does called Seas on the Moon, and he's put out a few songs under that moniker, just as sort of a studio effort. So a lot of producers do that, right? They don't really ever tour or play live, or if they did, they don't do it too much anymore, whatever, right? But they'll put out their sort of own efforts, right? So he did this, and that sort of caught my attention. So I reached out to him, and I sent him a couple of the songs that we had done, and kind of like the direction we were thinking of the vocals, or we really didn't have any vocals. I think I sent him a couple of scratch passes that had like one of the singer's vocals on it that I wasn't happy with, and I let him know that. And he got back to me and he said, look, CC, this sounds great. He says, I'm going to make a suggestion for your vocals. I know a gal who does, session work, and you can hire her, and, she can bring the vocals to probably where you want them to be. I said, great. And he said, yeah, it's Lena. And I said, okay, great. So he introduced Lena and I, and it was pretty instantaneous. I mean, she got the track. This is one of the first tracks we did with her, and this was the Borderlines single. Mm-hmm. And because I wrote that was one of the first songs I wrote. So we tried a couple of vocalists out on it, and nothing was really working. And then Lena does her thing and sends it back, and it was, instantly like, wow, like huge difference. So we basically, at that point, Lena said, well, hey, listen, the song's sounding pretty good. Do you want me to give it to my label to see if they want to do it, carry it as like a single or something? I said, sure, go for it, see what they say. I personally thought they were not going to like it. I was thinking that's probably not what they're thinking. And they picked it up. They were like, yeah, we'll do it. They wanted to arrange it where they, it was me. I had to sign all the paperwork to do the single. But it was Lena's name that they wanted to put in the front just for the sake of marketing it. So I said, yeah, I don't care what, she's a vocalist, but yeah. So that's what we did. And then Lena and I continued to work on music with the band. At this point, we had an original bass player that we were working with. He's actually in that first video. And we were kind of hoping that he was going to stay and be part of Death Dealer Union moving forward, because at this point, but up until that point, we had kind of just been, nothing was really solid yet, right? Like we hadn't even really, I don't even know if we had like an Instagram page or anything. I mean, it was just so early in the whole process that so we had that original bass player. We asked him to come back. He didn't want to do it. He wanted to move to Georgia of all places. And so we found Johnny. We started writing other songs and doing or started working and doing more stuff. And I think we had a few songs recorded already. Plus we had that Beneath the Surface single already done and the video done for it. So we put that out, and it was around that time that I had asked Lena to I went out and we spoke, and I said, hey, do you want to be full-time vocalist in the band? And she said she had to think about it, and we finally came to a really good thing, and then we'd already had songs, and then once we made the announcement, we released a second single and a second video. We didn't do it on the Napalm label. We just did it on my own label. And we also made an announcement at the same time that Lena is going to join the band and be the full-time vocalist of Death Dealer Union. And so then that's when sort of a lot of I started talking to labels again about, doing a full-length record and and stuff like that. So that's where we're at now. And so we said, okay, well, let's just stay with Napalm. That's kind of who we started with, and
Yeah.
just to make it easy. And so that's kind of where we're at, and that's kind of how it all and then bring us up till today. Yeah.
Album is called Initiation. Where did the title and kind of concept for the record come from?
The concept just kind of formed on its own. It didn't really, no one really tried, I guess. The initiation, it comes from the root word of something initial, being something's first effort, something, an initial effort, an initial offering. This in some ways was our initial or debut effort, obviously, and we're also a union. We're Death Dealer Union, so we're sort of initiating you into our union. And if you look on the album track list, you'll notice that first song is the initiation, and the second song is your vow of silence. So you have to take your vow of silence after you take your initiation. So that's kind of how we set that up, and we didn't really mean to. It just that we had these names of the songs, and we said, well, okay, well, that's kind of cool. We can just kind of do that and do that, and we already kind of had a theme going. So it just kind of all really worked out, really nicely, actually. And there was definitely some deliberate placements, so yeah.
Who did the album artwork?
That was Giannis Nakos. He's pretty well-known album cover artist. He's done quite a bit for many labels. Napalm suggested him, and I'm sure glad they did, because he took care of everything. It was really great. All the cool inserts and all the stuff that goes with the album artwork and everything was really amazing what he did. Actually, I was really impressed.
The album's been out a week now. You guys don't have any shows this year, but on your website it says you got regional touring and the national tour for 2024. Is that your big push, like next year, like let the record sit and then tour next year?
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to try and build an audience here. I mean, we're just such a new band, and it's just, I think if we are trying to go out and play shows now, I think we might get 15 or 20 people, at shows. I just I really started actually thinking about that this morning a lot, because it is coming up fast, and we're trying to plan to do like some more videos, and we definitely have more music planned, so we just I think we need to build this audience a little bit, and then let's see where we're at. I think a lot of this is going to really depend upon radio airplay, which we are getting pretty good traction nationally.
Yeah.
radio airplay. But
I think I just need to see how this is going to build out, and then I think what I'd like to do is try to see where we're hitting on the radio, and kind of those will be probably the cities and towns that we'll play the shows in. Just gonna try and see, and just try and get this audience built. But I think either way, I think you're gonna see more material flowing out. There's definitely more videos coming out. So there's a ton more stuff coming from us. Shows are scheduled for January, regionally. And then I was just talking to booking yesterday about what the other shows might look like, or what those shows in May might look like.
Beyond this veil, there's so much more to see. There's so much more we can do or be. Beyond this veil, there's so much more to see. There's so much more we can do or be. There's so much more. There's so much more.
Thanks for listening to As the Story Grows. Our intro music was written and composed by Jeremy Hunt. The As the Story Grows theme is by Bob Nana. If you like what you hear, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and give us a rating and review. If you'd like to support the show financially, you can join us at patreon.com/asthestorygrows. Be a part of our community and join the ongoing conversation over on Discord. If you enjoy this episode, share it on social media with your friends. Much appreciated, and thanks for listening.
I never felt so young and alive as when I'm diving into a tune. And now I'm learning as I listen along, and the wheels are turning, and I started a song. One good word and I'm gone. Oh, as the story grows, the more I want to know, the more I want to show you. As the story grows, as the story grows. You can create something lasting and great, something passionate and real. And I'll bring in my own good feelings, I'll sing it with meaning. Let's just attack it and never look back. It's wild and fantastic. All together at full power, we're so much better. What's that word?